impossible dream.
There is no escape for you. The high table wants your life.
The right, the unrightable wrong.
Tell me what you want.
Passage.
I can't help you.
To reach the unreachable star.
What is up, guys? Kid Critic is back with another review, and yeah, I'm back. And he is back to review John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, which is directed by Chad Stahelski and stars Keanu Reeves, Halle Berry, and Ian McShane, and it's about... After gunning down a member of the High Table, the shadowly International Assassins Guild legendary hitman John Wick finds himself stripped of the organization's protective services. Now struck with a $14 million bounty on his head, Wick must fight his way through the streets of New York as he becomes the target of the world's most ruthless killers. Now with that out of the way, Joker, start this review for us.
And here we go.
Alright, now this is my opinion on the John Wick franchise so far. I thought the first one was great, definitely better than people really thought it was going to be. John Wick Chapter 2 I thought was a great follow-up, and I actually think I'm one of those rare people that actually thinks John Wick Chapter 2 might be better than the first one, but I have to rewatch the second one because it's been a while since I've seen this one. And you guys know that I've been a huge fan of the trailers for John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, and I just wanted a fun action movie. And look, I don't know how I'm going to say this, but this movie's brilliant. This movie is bloody brilliant. Alright? This movie is amazing. It is great. It's fantastic. No, I'm just kidding, it sucked. I hated this movie. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. It was like, what am I watching right now? I don't know why people are liking this movie. This movie is awful. The action scenes are horrendous. The way they shot this movie, I mean, you can barely... when they were fighting, you were looking at their feet. What is that? Okay, I'm just kidding. This movie was awesome. I'm serious this time. This movie was so good. It was awesome. I loved it so much. It was so good. And my first pro for this movie is that the action is probably the best it's ever been. It's probably some of the best action I've ever seen in any action movie. Now look, I've barely watched this movie, okay? I'm on an adrenaline high for this movie. But as of right now, to me, in my opinion, these action scenes in John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum were so good, and they definitely top John Wick Chapter 1 and 2. And as I was watching this movie, I'm like, I think I know what John Wick does on his free time. He probably has a list that's like the top 10 creative ways to kill people. That's probably what he does in his free time, because he does things that you've just never seen in an action movie before. Like John Wick and Michael Myers should compete for like the most creative kills of all time. I'm telling you, right when this movie starts, there's this action sequence, and it's in the trailer where John Wick is throwing the knives at that dude and he's getting knives thrown back at him. That scene is great. My jaw was on the floor every single action sequence. It was jaw-dropping. It was great. It was intense, and I loved it. And there's also a certain moment, it happens at the very beginning of the movie. And all I'm gonna say is book. That's all I'm gonna say. And I think after that scene though, I think books are probably gonna be made an illegal weapon just worldwide. Like books are banned. Like it's gonna turn into Fahrenheit 451 up in here. But the final action sequence, I know I'm talking about action a lot, but it's an action movie, so yeah, it makes sense. But the final action sequence, now the thing that I think makes action sequences great is when you feel the stakes, and when the stakes are high and you're like, people can die right now. That's what I felt in that final action sequence. Like, it went down. It was a nail biter. John Wick killed some fools in that fight, and it was just bloody glorious. Get it? Bloody glorious. And then when Halle Berry shows up in the movie with her dogs, you're like, no one can stop this. Like, her and her dogs, like, they just wrecked shop. Like, game over. Like, if you're against them, like, if it's you and 100 million Thanoses against Halle Berry and her dogs, you know who's gonna win that fight? Halle Berry and her dogs, because no one's beating them three. The performances all around the table, get it? Table, the high table. Oh, I'm just killing it in this movie. Get it? kill. Oh my goodness. You know, I should just delete this part out. But all performances were great. Keanu Reeves is great again as John Wick. And they give him lines in this movie that only Keanu Reeves as John Wick can pull off. Lines such as, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. Like lines like those. And it was fabulous. It was brilliant. And I just wish there was a whole movie of John Wick saying lines like that, because I would pay money for it. You know what, that was a lie. I wouldn't do that, but it was very entertaining in this movie. And Ian McShane is just fabulous. He is awesome in this film. He has some great comedic moments in this film, especially in the third act, in the midst of all this chaos. He has jokes that just pay off and they're hilarious. Lawrence Fishburne comes back again and he is great as always. He also has some very funny moments in the movie. And another actor who appears in the movie by the name of Mark, I'm probably gonna butcher his last name, and I'm sorry, Mark Dacascos. I'm just not even gonna try anymore, but he has some great moments in the film as well. And I thought he has probably the funniest line and probably the best line in the whole entire movie, but I won't say what it is because that is spoiler territory and we don't want to get to that territory. And Halle Berry again, who's also in this movie like I mentioned before, and I mean, it's Halle Berry, come on. And as you can already tell, I thought there were some great comedic moments in the movie that really balanced the chaos that was happening throughout the film. And I kind of felt like that was lacking from the previous two movies, but in this movie, it definitely wasn't lacking any of that. Now, something that this movie showed us that I don't really think that the other movies did was the whole background behind the Continental and kind of how it started and how it runs. And I felt like John Wick Chapter 3 really showed more of that, and I found it to be very interesting. And also boosted up my excitement for the new Continental show that's currently in development that I'm just very excited for, especially after seeing this movie. We also get to find more about John Wick's past and how he became John Wick essentially. And I also really enjoyed that aspect of the film. And the color palette of this movie I thought was really cool because it had like red, blue, green, and it was like dark and rainy with those colors in it. And I just found it to add an extra layer to the movie. Now I do have like little itty bitty nitpicks, like smaller than an ant nitpicks. Like there's moments where I'm like, the action's kind of getting a little bit too fast and the furious. Like John Wick is always kind of like a ground level, and you can kind of, it's not fast and the furious action. We're like that's superhero level stuff. And there's parts where I'm like, I don't think he'd survive that, but whatever, because I am enjoying my time with this movie, and this movie is just brilliant. Other than those little tiny nitpicks, I'm just not even going to count that. You know why? Because John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum is just, you know what? A 5 out of 5 Fernies. That is right, folks. John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum is the first 5 out of 5 Fernies of 2019. Avengers Endgame didn't do it, Shazam didn't do it, Captain Marvel didn't do it, Pet Sematary didn't do it, but John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum surprisingly did it. I'm just shocked that I'm even saying that. So with that said, guys, go see it right now because it is just that good. And with that said, guys, tell me down in the comment section below, what did you think of John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum? And don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, look out for the next video or review. And that was a great movie. Oh yeah. Peace. Man, that was a great movie.